This morning, we continue our 6-month investigation into sexual harassment and assault allegations at the U.S. Air Force Academy. You're seeing it only on CBS This Morning. Yesterday, we shared stories of more than a dozen current and former cadets. They say they were assaulted at the school and faced retaliation for reporting it. This morning, we aired our interview with the Academy's former top official on sexual assault. She told us she believes the Academy undercounts sexual assault cases. Over the past 10 years, there have been 287 sexual assault reports made by cadets at the Academy. That includes 32 reports last school year. Joining us now is the Air Force Academy's new superintendent, Lieutenant General Silveria. General, thank you for being here. Thank you for traveling all the way from Colorado Springs to talk about this. We appreciate it. As you know, we spoke to cadets who said they were assaulted, they were harassed, even raped, and then that they faced retaliation for reporting it. How do you respond to those cadets?
Well, first off, Norah, Gayle, John, thank you for having me. It's important that I'm here to talk about this important topic and to do this in person, face to face. I'm disgusted by those reports. I mean, just like you. I mean, I'm disgusted by that. I'm a parent. I have two children that are in their early 20s that went to college. Their mother, my wife, would be horrified if that happened to one of our children. So I'm just as disgusted by that those assaults happen to those people just as anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the fact that they tried to report this, to take action, and they believe they were retaliated against by their commanders at the Academy?
So, Norah, I'm responsible as the superintendent at the Academy for the climate and the culture at the Air Force Academy. And I've committed myself from the very beginning. It's been very clear that I expect the cadets and the faculty and the staff to treat each other with respect and dignity. And I've enforced that from the very beginning. But it's also about accountability. And so the office that was providing the support, and I know you interviewed someone who was in charge of that office, it's about the accountability of that office. And so there were some allegations that she made about the office, but she was in a leadership role in that office. And while I respect her service in that office, there are standards in that office that we needed to maintain. You ran the piece about General Johnson, that she initiated the investigation. She had to take action because our cadets deserve the very best.
But Teresa Beasley says, though, that when she brought it to the attention that it was minimized, that the severity, that the people were not believed. To Norah's point, where she said that things were undercut, that people sort of minimalized, people at the Academy minimalized. Because it sounds like she did bring it to the attention, but nothing was done. I think that's the answer we're trying to get from you.
So she did bring a number of items to attention, which was part of the investigation. And there were a couple dozen witnesses that were part of the investigation. But I think it's important that you don't just focus on Teresa Beasley in that office. We have a number of layers of care that we have for cadets. They have mental health professionals, they have student counseling services, they have chaplains that are available for cadets of faith. I mean, we have all of our commanders are trained. They have an accredited master's degree in counseling from the University of Colorado system. So cadets get support the way that they want to get support, not the way that someone in an individual also thinks they should get support.
And one of the people Norah talked to said, you go there because you want to protect your country and they don't protect you. That's a pretty extraordinary statement. You've talked about accountability. What exactly are you doing so that no cadet would ever be in a position to be able to make that kind of a statement?
Well, since I've been there, I've made my stance on the culture and climate. I've been there since August. Since I've made my stance on culture and climate very clear. Additionally, I have held everyone to a high standard. Last month, we removed a cadet for sexual assault. Last month, we also removed a cadet for racial slurs. I've also held one of our athletic teams to a very high standard and suspended some coaches and players for not meeting standards. So I think what's important is my role is to set that climate and set that culture at the Air Force Academy.
As we reported yesterday, 2 attacks on a trail near the campus were called physical attacks, but were actually violent rapes. Why didn't the Academy warn cadets when that happened?
Oh, the Academy did warn cadets. The Academy did an exhaustive investigation of that trail and of that incident. Over 80 witnesses were called. The investigation was over months, a number of forensics about when people arrive and left the area. And then we added a number of measures and protective measures onto the trail. So the Academy took that very seriously.
Well, in fact, it's our reporting here that the only public announcement made in the wake of these attacks was on USAFA's Facebook page. And that the Academy essentially started a buddy system, but they didn't warn that they were rapes. They just said they were attacks.
Well, until we could actually confirm what had happened on there through the investigation and through the research of the specific things, it was very difficult for General Johnson at the time to then say what specifically happened until they could.
Let me ask you this now. Yeah. Do you believe that 2 cadets were raped on that trail?
I don't know exactly what happened on the trail, but let me make it very, very clear, Norah, that whatever happened on the trail, the most important thing is that those cadets get support and that they get care and that their voices are heard and they have an opportunity to talk about with someone to receive that care.
Do you think there is a problem, General, at the Academy when it comes to sexual assaults and how it's being handled? Do you think that there are problems there?
I don't think there are problems, and let me tell you why. Is that you talked about some of the reporting of the numbers of sexual assaults. I want numbers of reports to go up. I know that doesn't make sense right on the surface, but I want reporting to go up. We know that this is an underreported crime. Mm-hmm. We know that across the nation and across campuses, this is underreported. So I want reporting to go up so that I can provide that care, provide that support. Last year, 38% of the assaults that were reported to our offices, 38% were assaults that happened prior to arriving at the Air Force Academy, which means cadets received care and support for something that happened prior to arriving at the Academy. That's why I want to have that available to them, that support.
All right. General Silveria, thank you so much for being here for this conversation. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.